Stone Cold Prose, building better words.
I'm not sure you get wiser as you get older, but you do learn to avoid a certain amount of hell. So said Jack Crawford to Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs, and it's true. We may not get wiser with age, but we do pick up some nifty defensive tactics to avoid some of the wild haymakers and, let's face it, knees to the groin that life so often tries to deliver. Footballs in the groin. This is especially true of those of us in the second half of this 15-round unlicensed bare-knuckle boxing match we call existence. Hi guys, welcome back to Stone Cold Prose, where we build better words, better thoughts, and better men. I'm Miles Watson, novelist and author of numerous award-winning series, including Cage Life, Sinner's Cross, and The Chronicles of Magnus. I worked in Hollywood for 12 years, law enforcement for another 10, and now I break it all down and build it back better. So let's get into this, starting with a dramatic pause. Generation X is defined by some as that generation born between 1960 and 1980. The exact dates differ depending on your source, but any way you slice that pumpkin, my jack-o'-lantern has a big X on it, as I was born bang at the beginning of the 70s. Now, if you've watched my bacterial video, Why Gen X is Built Different, you know I'm not one who believes that we of the X gang are better or worse than generations before or after us, just different. On the other hand, we are different. If you're curious as to the reasons why, go ahead and watch that video. It has almost 1,000 comments, and some of them are almost as interesting and informative as the video itself. Almost. Now, as I always inform people at the beginning of my videos, I've had more than one life. I spent a decade in the entertainment industry, a decade in the criminal justice field, and a decade in college. I haven't always been responsible. I've sometimes been something worse than irresponsible, but the experiences of growing up, the way I did, the way we did, coupled with my travels, my creative work, my professional life, and all the rest of it, well, I've accumulated a body of knowledge which, when I apply it to life, rises to the level of wisdom. Now, before you go in on me, there is a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Taking knowledge and applying it practically to your life rather than just talking about it over coffee or beers and then going on and being the same dumbass you were before is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. You see, the generational difference between X and the generations after it largely comes down to the fact that we were forced to process and synthesize our life lessons in what you might call an analog way. That is to say, we didn't have social media or the interwebs or cell phones to either guide us or misinform us. We had to raw dog life from day one without benefit of the hive mind. Now that process was slow and painful and embarrassing, but it left us with what Liam Neeson would call a very particular set of skills. Our experiences were not acquired for the sake of showing them off on Instagram, but for our own exclusive benefit. The closest thing we had to Instagram were family slides shown on a slide projector that vented molten air and dust into the living room while Aunt Petunia showed us her trip to the Grand Canyon for 7 hours. It was horrible. Thus, we were able to internalize our life lessons at a younger age, which incidentally is one of the reasons why 18-year-olds from pre-internet generations often looked like they were 40. Facts. Now, why am I sharing this? Because when I apply the lessons I've so painfully learned to my life, this wisdom shared to me by other people, it's not mine, I almost always see immediate and positive results, just as when I forget them or fail to apply them, I almost always suffer. So in no particular order, I will share with you, free of charge, some of the most important things the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the aughts taught me. The information I gathered as a child, a kid, a young man, and now as a 50-something relic that I use to navigate this wacky adventure we call life. First up, anxiety is not evil. Anxiety is energy. Free energy supplied to you by your body because it knows you are experiencing stress over something which lies in your future. It is often unpleasant to experience, but it will only hurt you if you don't use it. So use it. Anxiety is often a sure indication that you are on the right path. Next, Resentment is a great teacher. This is a tough one. If you feel resentment, chances are you're either being bullied by someone or something and need to man up and address that situation and change it to your benefit, or you need to man up by accepting it so that you no longer resent it. If you hate your job or your relationship or whatever because you feel disrespected, have the talk or take the walk. But if you don't leave, if you choose to stay in that situation, don't just sit there resenting it, accept it. You may not be happy, but you'll be less unhappy. Next is average men get average results. If you feel you're average in any respect, you should expect average outcomes in that respect. Any other expectation is just entitlement, and there's way too much of that in the world. Building on that, the outcome, yes, is a reflection of the effort. You put in the work, that'll show. If you didn't, that'll show too. I learned that in boxing. You can fake everything right up to the point you get in the cage, the ring, the mat, whatever, and then the truth comes out. And the truth can hurt. Shouldn't have to say that one, but sadly I do. You can't get skinny by hating being fat. You are what you think about all day, but solutions involve a different level of energy than problems. Think on that one. You will never outperform your belief systems. If you think you're a loser, you are. If you think you're a winner, then you already know where the prize is, you just haven't collected it yet. When you are defeated, you will not view defeat as defeat, but as a lesson, an experiment that yielded valuable information. In life, as in a minefield, knowing where not to go is as important as knowing where to go. The universe doesn't hear please don't, only what follows it. So replace I want and I wish with I am. It sounds very cheesy and new agey and bullshit, but it's not, because mindset is key. Attack the day with a prepared mind. You know those mornings where you can't find the right clothes, you didn't pack your lunch, your gas tank is on empty when you get to your car, and all the rest of it. You know how miserable you are all morning because of that, and how behind you get and sloppy your work is, and how pissed off everyone is at you, and how pissed off you are at yourself. That was me every day of my life until the age of about 25. If I just take the half hour necessary to get my ducks rowed up before the next day, before I go to sleep, I save myself hours of time and a whole lot of aggravation and humiliation the next morning. Don't let life happen to you happen to life. Shit will always go sideways anyway, because that is life, but shit goes sideways a lot less when you plan for it. Chance favors the prepared mind. Don't seek happiness in the same place you lost it. Vices are not painkillers, they are the producers of pain. If eating or drinking or drugs or gambling or any other obsessive activity is bringing suffering to your life, don't seek comfort in more of the same. You can't drink your way out of a drinking problem, even though millions have tried. You must sacrifice the worst of you to become the best you can be, but only you know to what degree you're in love with the worst of you. Most people love their dark sides and spend a lot of time feeding them red meat. If you're that guy or that girl, be honest with yourself about it. If you like who you are as a rage addict or an alcoholic or a bully or a manipulator or a libertine, ask yourself why and what you're prepared to do to change. Identifying a personality problem is easy. Solving it often involves a degree of personality death that most people are too cowardly or too apathetic to take. Do some self-assessment. Most of the things you want in life are on the other side of a few difficult conversations. If you can nerve yourself to have those conversations, you will often find you can get the thing you want, or at least set yourself up to achieve the goal. But if the outcome of the conversation is a hard pass from the other side, be it a person or a job or anything else in life, you will discover that while you will probably be hurt, angry, disappointed, you will not have regrets. It's the chances people don't take that plague them on their deathbeds. We know this scientifically. Shooting your shot is more important than the outcome. Success often comes dressed as defeat. Transitions are naturally painful and sometimes even humiliating. But there can be no birth without blood, and there is no positive change without fear and discomfort. The larger the change you seek in life, the more fear and discomfort you will feel. It's proportional. And this is why most people never get better. Building on that, the universe will test your resolve. If you embark on a change, expect not reward, but resistance. The universe wants to see how badly you say what you want. Are you willing to suffer setbacks and keep going? Are you willing to put in time and effort without immediate results? Stop looking for hacks and start paying your damn dues. Next is beware negative self-talk. As Bruce Lee once reputedly said, and yes, he reputedly said everything, words are magic, that's why they're called spells. The way you talk about yourself is an indicator of the way others will treat you. They'll take their cues from you. Next, whatever you are ain't good enough. You can always be better, and the moment you stop trying is the moment, this is cheesy, you start dying. Cheesy, yes. True, also yes. My favorite ever quote was by a South American doctor who studied the habits of people who live to be 100 or more. He said he asked one man who was 104 years old for an interview, and the guy responded, "I can't. I have singing lessons today." Be that guy. This one is especially for the men. Emotions are not problems to be solved. They are teachers to be respected. Even when the emotion is inappropriate, and it usually is, it is generally trying to tell us something about ourselves that we may not know. Instead of punishing yourself for overreacting or underreacting in a situation, ask yourself what the lesson was. What is it teaching you about you? Now this is a tough one, so I'll say it twice. Jealousy is desire. Jealousy is desire. It is a signpost that points the way to what you want. Now go and get it. Or something that looks just like it. Success has a moral element. All real triumph is indivisible from some element of nobility. If there is no nobility, there is no victory. Fuck checking your privilege. Check your motives. As Sherlock Holmes once said, the schemer falls into the pit which he digs for another. Believe that. And last, if you viewed yourself as kindly as you view those you love, you would love yourself too. It's a sad truth of life that many people are willing to extend grace, charity, forgiveness, respect, courtesy to everyone in this world except themselves. But how can you hope to be happy or successful if you refuse to grant yourself that same kindness? Circling back to everything I said before, it all starts and ends with you. If you don't respect yourself, don't cry when no one else does either. And with that, I bring today's video to a close. I hope some of this was useful, and I hope you weren't fooled by what seems painfully obvious, because the question is not whether it was painfully obvious, but whether you are actually applying it to your life. Again, anyone can gather information. Not everyone has the balls to use it. Folks, if you enjoyed today's video, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and remember to check out my books on Amazon and elsewhere online. The link is maybe in the description, maybe not. I usually forget it. I drop scripted content every Friday, shorts almost every day, and unscripted rants and rambles whenever rage or silliness moves me to do so. I will see you next time, and until then, stay cold and stay wise.